Following the resignation of some of President Muhammadu Buhari's ministers that have resigned to pursue their presidential ambition, President Muhammadu Buhari have nominated 7 ministers to be screened by the Senate on Wednesday next week. Good evening and welcome to National Talk on ECWA Television Africa. I am Sela Elisha Dasho, and Lois Turaki is here with me, and she will be giving us details on the nomination and also the screening. Good evening, Lois.
Good evening, Sela. How are you doing today?
I'm great, and you?
I'm okay. Straight into the ministerial nominations by President Muhammadu Buhari and who they are replacing. President Buhari nominates new ministers, sent list to Senate in the letter addressed to the Senate President Ahmed Lawan, read on the floor on Tuesday, 21st of June 2022, finds the confirmation of the nominees. The President nominated 7 persons. The 7th nominee is to replace the former Minister of Agriculture, Sabo Nanono, who was sacked in September last year. According to reports, 6 former ministers who resigned to contest for primaries include Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, Science, Technology and Innovation, Ogunnaya Onu, Minister of State, Mines and Steel Development, Uche Oga, Minister of State Education, Emeka Nwajuba, and Minister of State for Niger Delta Affairs, Chief Tayo Alashuduwa. The President in the letter explained that the confirmation request was in accordance with the provisions of Section 147, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. The nominees are Henry Ikechukwu Iko, Abia State, Umana Okon Umana, Akwa Ibom State, Ekuman Kama Joseph Nkama, Ebonyi State, and Goodluck Nana Opia, Imo State. Others are Umar Ibrahim El Yakub, Kano State, Ademola Adewole Adegoroye, Ondo State, and Odum Odi, Rivers State. According to a ranking senator, confirmation hearing of the nominees is scheduled for Wednesday, the 23rd of June 2022, which they will all be screened. About the nominees, Joseph Ekumama to replace Onu. The nomination of Joseph was received with mixed feelings in Ebonyi State. Joseph, a former commissioner for intergovernmental affairs, is considered as one of Governor David Umahi's loyalists. Prior to now, there were insinuations in some quarters that Onu's replacement will come from the old bloc of APC in the state. There are 2 blocks in the state's chapter of the APC, the new, which belong to the governor, and the old, the Onu's camp. It was learnt that some of Onu's aides and political loyalists said APC stalwarts in Ebonyi and Umahi prevailed on President Buhari to appoint someone else other than Onu. Henry Ikechukwu Iko, the son of a late military captain, Chief Henry Ikechukwu Iko Ozurumba I, hails from Ohua Oboro in Oboro clan in Okwanu local government area of Abia State. He had served as a commissioner under the administration of a PDP-led government in Abia State from 2015 to 2020 before he joined the APC after resigning from PDP over what he called irregularities in the party Congress. After joining the APC, he served as zonal vice chairman of APC Southeast Zone, mobilizing support for his new party. In the recently held primaries, he lost his bid to fly the flag of the party as a candidate for Abia Central Senatorial District to Chief Sam Onyobo from the same Oboro clan. Udi Udom. Responses have continued to follow the nomination of the former chairman of Abua Odua Local Government Council, Udi Udom, as a minister designate. Sources from his Abua Odua local government area described the minister designate as a philanthropist and a strong ally of Amechi. Some residents of Odua testify that the new minister designate impacted on many youths of the local government area. For Umuna Okon Umuna, a ministerial nominee from Akwa Ibom State, is currently the managing director of the Oil and Gas Free Zones Authority, OXVA. Umona began his career as a lecturer in the School of Basic Studies at Kwampa, Cross River State, from where he transferred his services during the administration of Ogbon Victor Atta as governor. Muna was secretary to the state governor during the administration of Senator Godswill Akpabio as governor, where he served for 6 years. When he could not get the nod of Akpabio to pick the governorship ticket of the PDP in 2015, he defected to the APC, where he was defeated by Governor Udom Emmanuel. Nana Opia, Uzodima's man to replace Nwajuba, proposed to represent Imo State in the federal cabinet is Nana Opia, who will take the spot of Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, who resigned to contest for the APC presidential ticket. Opia, who is from Ohaji Ogbema, is the special advisor of petroleum matters to Governor Hope Uzodinma. He had earlier served as the chairman of Imo Oil Producing Areas Development Commission. Opia is an ex-speaker of the Imo State House of Assembly and former representative of Ohaji and Ogbema Oguta Oru West in the House of Representatives. Ademola Adewole Adegoroye was a royal contestant, now a ministerial nominee. He is an Akure prince who has contested for the Deji of Akure stool at a time. He was also a member of the State House of Assembly during the regime of late Chief Adebayo Adefarati as the governor of the Sunshine State. Adegoroye had contested for a seat in the House of Representatives but lost. The 55-year-old legal practitioner was an active member of the Alliance for Democracy and Action Congress of Nigeria, ACN, before the merger to form the APC. He is from Akure, the same area as Honorable Tayo Alashodura, the immediate past minister from the state. He was the governorship candidate of AC in 2007. The former director, Odua Investment Holdings Limited, is the acting chairman, Governing Board, Federal Medical Center, Gusau, Zamfara State. He is married with 2 children. El Yakub, from National Assembly license officer to a ministerial seat. Many top sources in the APC as well as the Kano State Government House said, according to reports, that the appointment of El Yakub was because of his closeness to the president. According to a source, and I quote, "You can hardly see El Yakub in any Kano political event, at least not once with Governor Ganduje in attendance, but that does not mean he is not grounded locally. Don't forget he had represented Kano Municipal at the House of Representatives in the past." But commenting on the nomination, Zachary Sarina, the secretary of Kano APC, said El Yakub is a part of the Kano APC family. He is a loyalist and we are proud of him and grateful to the president for nominating him, he added. Now a look at President Muhammadu Buhari's administration based on his evaluation and statements on improving the economy. On May 29, 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari ascended the seat after numerous years of failed attempts to head over the affairs of the country under civilian authority. His mounting the saddle came with expectations and high hopes, especially as the country was facing security challenges that closely touched its foundation. The question on the mouths of many has been, how far has he utilized the goodwill of the people in terms of his performance 7 years after? What is the impact of his administration on the people, and what has been his accomplishments and failures as he has just 1 year to round up his 8 years tenure of 2 terms? Buhari's 7 years in office has been received with mixed feelings. While his All Progressives Congress APC family members have applauded him, the opposition elements in the country believe that his electioneering promises have not been fulfilled. Remember that the president, before his election victory 2015, had recognized 3 basic areas as his major areas of emphasis: fighting corruption, address the challenges of insecurity, and the diversification of the economy. It is on this ground that Nigerians, especially the critics, are making their assessments of his administration. According to them, the Northwest and North Central school children can no longer go to school for fear of being kidnapped for ransom, while the Southeast, hitherto known for peace and industry, is gradually becoming an ungoverned space with unknown gunmen terrorizing the region without check. The Southwest is equally not secure from the bane of ritual killers and other criminal activities. Terrorists, bandits, kidnappers, and ritual killers have become unabashed with reports of killing of innocent citizens on a daily basis. Non-state actors have become bolstered and are bold to confront security agencies in broad daylight. In spite of criticisms and lamentations in some quarters, the presidency has said that judging from the numerous problems the administration met on ground when it came into power, so much have been achieved by the Buhari's administration. Stalwarts of the president have contended that as at 2015, the country under former President Goodluck Jonathan was drifting and heading toward the precipice, with Nigerians, especially those in the northeast, groaning under the siege of Boko Haram terrorists. The dreaded terrorists, Buhari followers argue, has started expanding their operations southward with bombs attacks in Abuja, the seat of power. Buhari's eventual emergence as president gave the hope that the country may, after all, be safe again. According to President Muhammadu Buhari, his administration has made an impact in security, economy, and corruption. He said this while speaking at an event in Kano on Thursday, June 16, 2022. According to him, and I quote, "As you are all aware, this administration came to office determined to make impact in three main areas: security, building a sustainable economy, and fight against corruption. We can say that recent positive development in these areas have shown that despite the challenges on ground, we can see general improvement in all three areas. In the area of corruption, as you are all aware, I am determined to ensure that we do not have a repeat of what has gone on in previous administrations, and we have taken a strong stand against pervasive corruption." And in the area of security, President Buhari said his administration has also focused on security by repositioning national security to perform their duties effectively, and have equally embarked on some crucial changes in their structure, funding, and motivation. He said that these approaches have yielded positive results, as it is glaring that Nigeria's ranking has improved on the World Counter-Terrorism Global Index from 4th to 6th position on the list of most terrorized nations. Also, across the north central and northwest of the country, he stated that his administration made progress with regards to stemming the tide of communal violence, farmer-herdsmen clashes, cattle rustling, and kidnapping. And he promised that his administration will continue to demonstrate zero tolerance from crime and criminality. Those who take laws into their hands, who bear arms illegally, and who seek to profit from a climate of fear and insecurity will be decisively dealt with. Also, the special advisor to the president on media publicity, Chief Femi Adesina, gave a general overview of the 7-year-old administration under Buhari in what he termed one-stop shop of the achievements of the Muhammadu Buhari administration at 7, saying revisionists will want to look at security challenges which is being vigorously tackled alone. But we look at the whole scope, and honest and fair Nigerians will admit that so much has been done and a lot more will still be done in the 12 months ahead. He highlighted the gains in infrastructural developments, roads, bridges, rail, air and seaport, housing, oil and gas reforms, digital economy, mines and steel development, agriculture, education, health, creative industries and sports, among others, and came up with the conclusion that the Buhari administration represents service to the people and nothing else. According to the presidential spokesman, under President Buhari, Nigeria has experienced the most determined legislative program in its history, as numerous landmark bills have been passed or amended in the last 7 years in order to have positive impacts on the fight against corruption, insecurity, economy, and electoral process. This include Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Bill 2022, which retracts the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 as amended and provides a comprehensive legal and institutional framework for the deterrence and prohibition of money laundering in Nigeria, while also deliberating on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the legal status of the Special Control Unit against Money Laundering. Others are Proceeds of Crime Recovery and Management Bill 2022, which makes comprehensive provisions for the seizure, confiscation, forfeiture, and management of properties gotten from unlawful activity, as well as mutual assistance in criminal matters bill, an executive bill signed into law in 2019. The bill enables the identification, tracing, freezing, restraining, recovery, forfeiture and classification of proceeds, property and other instrumentalities of crime, as well as the prosecution of offenders in criminal cases regardless of where in the world they might be. Legislations precisely passed to address the challenges of insecurity include Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Bill 2022, which revokes the Terrorism Prevention Act 2011 as amended in 2013 and provides for the effective implementation of international instruments on the prevention and combating of terrorism and repression of the financing of terrorism, as well as acts establishing the Police Trust Fund, which would help funding for the Nigerian Police Force 2019, in addition to Nigerian Police Act 2020, the first comprehensive reform of police legislation since the Police Act of 1943. Now I hand over to Sele as she continues with today's discussion. Sele.
Thank you so much, Lois, for that beautiful preamble, and I wish you a blessed weekend ahead. And to our viewers, right at this moment, we should take a time out where I will be inviting the guests that will be joining me, and together we shall actually dissect the nomination of also the ministers, and also to take a look at the Buhari administration. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
ECWA TV Africa keeps you lifted 24/7. Fixes your day and makes it fulfilled with messages of hope and salvation.
Sin and the devil, they always walk hand in hand together.
Christ too and the ministry of the Lord also will be promoted.
This aspect of David's experience we read in our passage of consideration brings this situation very near to ours.
He is majestic in holiness. Praise the Lord.
Groundbreaking shows for every life situation.
Our parents don't tell lies because that's always a problem.
But in the north, we have abandoned education.
If you ask me to do anything for Nigeria, please equip me. It feels great to be on a never-ending platform.
Heaven-gifted songs to lift your spirit up, pull you out of worry, fear, sadness, and even depression. Keep watching ECWA TV Africa. Follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification button with our activities.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's National Talk on ECWA Television Africa, and we shall be looking at a very great topic that's looking at various things that have been happening, especially during the week. The nomination of ministers that President Muhammadu Buhari has submitted the names to the Senate to actually screen, and also we should possibly also look at the administration of the Buhari for the past 7 years. I am joined with a guest here. I have a guest here in person of Dr. Dagum Dan. He's a senior lecturer with Annan University, Kwal Plateau State. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
So I would like us to go straight to what we shall be looking at. And I would love us to start with the nomination of the ministers that the president have actually submitted 7 names. We know that about 6 of these ministers resigned to actually pursue their political ambitions in various categories that they want. And the 7 names are being submitted for us to have a replacement of the 4 ministers that's looking at the transport, the education, and also to also look at steel and mines. Now, the question in the minds of Nigerians, and I also know this is something that they're eager to know. Now, with this appointment, we know that this administration have less than a year to actually resign. Now, what do you think Nigerians are expecting? Because we are expecting them to work. So should Nigerians be expecting them to just fill up those empty seats, or we are expecting them to work? Because these are expectations Nigerians will be having.
Once again, thank you for having me, and thank you, viewer. You see, the issue of the ministerial appointments, it's a requirement of the law, specifically Section 147, sub 3 of the Constitution requires the president to nominate at least one person from each state of the federation to be screened by the National Assembly for the position of minister. So the president is trying to now meet up with the requirement of the law and to fill in the vacant positions that have been created by those ones who resign and the other person from Kano who was sacked last year. But you see, I think the president, I don't know, because in 2015 he spent almost like 7 months without ministers.
Exactly.
And at that time he told us, he said ministers are just to fill in the positions that the technocrats are working at the permanent secretary. So he worked with the permanent secretaries for about 7 months. At that time we criticized him because, as far as I'm concerned, being a policy person, the strategic level of having policies at the ministerial level. So they are the ones that will develop the long-term plan of government, and then they'll trickle down the plan to the operational level that, or tactical level, let me put it that way, that the permanent secretaries will implement those strategies being developed by that level of strategists or policy developers, such as the ministers. So he didn't get it right at that time, and at that time it really brought about serious uncertainties in the economy. And you see, one thing that kills an economy is to have an uncertain situation. The 7 months period has given room for investors to sell their naira and take up dollars and move to Ghana or some other economies that they can get returns for their investments, because they were not so certain about the direction of our economy. It took the government almost 1.5 years to come up with a plan. And then, after 7 months, he appointed the ministers, and then at the end of the day, they had to sit down, because I feel that they came into government without an agenda. They were mentioning the 3, focus of the government, which is anti-corruption fight, fighting insecurity, revamping the economy, but without having strategies of really getting the objective set out for those areas. So to say, thematic areas, so to say. So, but it took them a while before they came out with the Economic and Recovery Growth Plan, ERGP, 2017 to 2020. And then, instead of them to really have another plan immediately to take over from the one that ended in 2020, which is ERGP, in fact, they had to have a fallow period that they came up with another 1-year plan. They call it, is it a National Sustainability, Economic Sustainability Plan. So they had that, and at the end of the day, they now have the Nigeria's National Development Plan 2021 to 2025. So that 1-year transiting plan, was just to bridge the gap without having a plan. So by and large, the appointment of the ministers can be seen from 2 sides. If you have the nominees that will come and really carry out the plans of their predecessors, then I think maybe we're going to go somewhere. Yeah, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and up to even 12 months, or let me say 11 months for them to go. A change can be made, although the indices are not good. But when we get into analyzing the performance of the government, in these 7 years, we'll definitely come out with the indices.
Another concern for Nigerians would be the fact that if we are saying the president submitted 7 nominees and we are replacing 4, and we know there were 6, Now, the question will be, what happened to those other two ministries? Are we saying they're not important? Are we saying they're irrelevant? What should happen to those ministries? Because if we are saying that the president decided to just, replace just 4, then something should happen to these two ministries.
Possibly, he has a way of doing things. Sometimes he might take another junior minister to other 2 vacant ministries. So what you experience, definitely there'll be cabinet reshufflement. So possibly some will be taken to other ministries, and some might be attached to other ministries to oversee, and so on and so forth. But the whole thing, he has to meet the requirements of the Constitution, especially that section 147, sub 3, to have at least 1 minister from each state.
Of course, and we can see that the nominees actually represented various geographical parts of the nation. Yeah. Now, just like you said, when we get to analyzing the administration of Buhari, we'll actually know the way forward. Now, I would like us to start analyzing the past ministers that stepped down. For example, let's take a look at the Minister of Transport, Amechi. Yes, there were infrastructures. We're not going to deny that. Yeah. I mean, the Lagos-Ibadan Railway is functioning. There were lots of lots of things. The train were working. But then if we're going to really look at transport sector, let's not forget that we still have the Kaduna-Abuja adoptees that are still in adoption with the captives. Let's not forget the highway that is no longer safe. So now, if we're going to say with less than 1 year, we're having new ministers, and those ministers that were there have quite an ample of time to actually do something. Now, taking for example this minister of transport actually stepped down. Now let's analyze them. What do you think so far with the new minister coming to step into the same shoe of this minister that stepped down? What should we be expecting so far?
Is it like taking from the example you gave, that is the Ministry of Transport? Yes, there are a number of infrastructures, and some of the infrastructures were inherited from the PDP government, of course, and then they only completed some of those infrastructure. Yes, the infrastructure are there, but you find that sometimes using the infrastructure is another problem because of the insecurity challenge we're having nationwide. Even the Abuja, Kaduna, Kano Expressway, I think that contract has been given. And then I think to a certain level, I think there were some, they're working on it. But you find that you cannot apply because on those routes because you're afraid of the bandits that will kidnap you. So the insecurity is a serious challenge. Even using the infrastructure that they are thinking that is a gain that they have in the administration. The new minister, possibly, sometimes he might be an onlooker. And if at all, they're going to now put them in their areas of specialization. For instance, maybe someone's an expert in transport sector, then the person might come and pick what Amechi has done. And if he's an expert, he might have different strategies to see whether he can achieve some of those issues. But as I said, whatever you're doing, you look at your environment, and there are some other environmental factors that are not controllable by you. So even as a minister, you want to achieve greatness in the transportation sector, but you have security issues. So you find that you cannot even achieve. These are uncontrollable environmental factors. So there are issues that must be taken care of by the institutions that are responsible to take care of the security challenges.
But it's still a point of concern because this same Minister of Transport resigned from his position in the heat of this attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train to pursue his own, permit me to use the word, to pursue his own personal interest of being a president, even though he lost it at the end of the day. But it's expected that this is your ministry. This is your primary assignment. Let's not forget we still have the Ministry of Education. ASU is still on strike presently. And we are seeing these ministers neglecting their primary responsibility and going after, permit me to use the word, secondary assignment. So definitely there is a lot that Nigerians will be expecting from them.
So they will tell you that, not that they want to go for higher responsibility because they wanted to be candidates for
but
the
it's expected
presidential.
that when you do better in the primary, then we should, you know, give you more work, because we can see that you've handled the little that we've given you properly.
Yeah, so but if you ask them, they tell you they've achieved in their own ministries. Like education, the Minister of State for Education who left went into contest for the presidency. And then the transport too went to contest for the presidency. If you hear Amechi talking to you, we tell that he has achieved in transport sector. The man in the education sector, you know, definitely the ASU strike, you cannot divorce that from the performance of that sector, because they couldn't resolve the matter, but they can link it up to the Ministry of Labour, because the mediation is the Ministry of Labour that does the mediation quite okay, but they are the ones, the Ministry of Education is a party, and the union is a party, and the Labour mediates to ensure that there's amicable resolution on the impasse they're having, or the issues they're having. So they will tell you they've performed, but you see, Nigerians will definitely assess. And then, for my own assessment, I'll tell you that truly, if you're putting on a scale of 10, I'll tell you that maybe 4.
You see, because definitely I was going to ask you to assess them on the scale of 1 to 10. Well, actually, to our viewers, remember we're live on Facebook, so you can actually drop your comment, and also you can call us and let us hear what your faith are concerning the ministerial nominees. What do you feel they have done? And also, as we should be analyzing the president's administration for the past 7 years, looking at what he has achieved, because he stated clearly that his administration has done better than the past administration. Now we're about to analyze the 7 years of our dear President Muhammadu Buhari. Yes, the president have achieved so much. We're going to take a look at there are lots of bills that have been passed in that house. Not too young to rule. The bill is there. Money laundering, there was a bill that was passed. In fact, there were lots of, when you take a look at bills that were being passed, we could see that they are actually working it out. We can see where even Attorney General was, the Accountant General, sorry, was even arrested for that money. But then if really we're going to really access or really evaluate the administration of the president, and in that same speech, we looked at security, the economy, and also corruption. Now let's take the security, because still looking at things that have been happening so far in the nation, what will be your own evaluation of security in the nation so far?
So to start the analysis, I have to give some macroeconomic objectives, so to say. You see, it is an economy. Nigeria is an economy, and in an economy is a system. An economy is a system whereby you have the players, we have the economic agents, in which they interrelate with each other, and they interdepend with each other to create value within the economy. And what is expected is that whatever you're doing within the economy is to achieve those macroeconomic objectives. You know, the economy is fundamentally divided into micro and macro, and the micro stage is looking at the demand and supply at the individual level. So the macro level is to look at the aggregation of the demand, aggregation of the supply, aggregation of government expenditure, private investment, and consumption, individual consumption, and so on and so forth, and you build an economy to that way. So whatever you're going to do as government, you must do those things, or your agenda must be tailored towards achieving those macroeconomic objectives. So purely, I'll just give you like, I'll give you 4 or 5 macroeconomic objectives that are expected to be achieved by the activities of government for whichever year. 1, you have to achieve economic growth. Your economy must grow. Your economy must be seen to be growing, and if your economy is growing, it means that the economic activities within the economy are growing too. For instance, there are more jobs, people are working, people are in businesses, there are there is a growth in exchange of goods and services within the economy. So that will now metamorphose into economic growth. That's one. Two, a reduction of unemployment. So if you have an unemployment level growing high, then it means you're not achieving that macroeconomic objective. Three, price stability. Price stability, we're talking about issue of controlling inflation, whereby much money will not be pursuing fewer goods. Today, initially we were buying a bag of rice with 8,000 naira, but now it's around 30,000 naira. So you can see much money is pursuing fewer goods, and that is inflation. It's part of the price stability objective that every government tries to achieve. Part of the price stability is the issue of exchange rate too. So the exchange rate too must be, that you're exchanging your local currency to a dollar and so on and so forth, and also interest rates. So these are parameters of achieving price stability objective. And the fourth objective is having a favorable balance of payments. That is looking at your interaction, the interaction of the country and the foreign countries, the external economies. So import and exports are the ones that will account for that balance of payment, balance, that is to have favorable balance of payment. So these are the four. You can add the fifth one, maybe poverty, to see how you can move the poverty rate to lower
drop
level
down.
to drop down. So if I'm going to now assess the Buhari administration, I'll look at this macroeconomic objectives, and then I'll look at the 3-point agenda, development agenda they've outlined for themselves. So insecurity, the issue of insecurity, they said they're going to fight insecurity. You see, they inherited the issue of Boko Haram. Sure. So let's look at Boko Haram now, whether, yes, they've achieved it. They will tell you that Boko Haram was bombing the whole country, going to different states, bombing, but now they've pushed them to just a particular area, and they don't go further from that area. But they should eliminate them. This is a country that we have the military that goes to other countries to really fight insecurity to a stop. But what is happening with us that we cannot really get it done, and we still have Boko Haram functioning. So, but you see, looking at that, we can say, yes, there is a little achievement. I think when they inherited the government in 2015, they were having like on average about 1,122 deaths annually, but they've reduced it to about 780 deaths annually by 2021. So we can say there's little improvement there. But the other side again, Boko Haram is reducing, the impact of Boko Haram is reducing, but kidnappings is increasing. Either the Fulani kidnapping in the middle belt or the bandits kidnapping in the northwest. The bandits, we put them as bandits, but they're all terrorists, you understand, and their modus operandi are similar, because the only thing is that the kidnappings around the middle belt, Plateau, Benue and the rest, Nasra, yes, they will ask for the ransom without telling government that they need this and that. They will just get the ransom and release the victims. But for the bandits, they will tell that they have problems with the government, and government must solve their problems. So that is the little difference I can give you about that. But you see, kidnappings have increased. In 2015, on the average, we're having like 112 victims per annum, but it has grown to about 8,452 victims per annum by 2021. So you can see Boko Haram victims or deaths have reduced, but kidnappings have increased. And that is the major challenge we have. People cannot move freely in this country. And in fact, that this issue of kidnappings have moved down south. Initially, kidnapping started from the south, quite okay, for economic benefits. But after the crisis, after different crises in the north, you find that kidnappings now moved to the north, And I'll tell you because I think I've experienced negotiating for kidnappings. My younger brother was kidnapped, and I negotiated with them. I had to pay ransom. Yeah, I went to the bush and paid ransom, and I bet you they are Fulanis. So I've never seen, and then other people's experiences. None has ever said that these kidnappers are non-Fulanis. So the bandits are Fulanis, the kidnappers in the Middle Belt are Fulanis. I've never met anybody saying that they are not Fulanis. I met them; they were speaking Fulfulde. So kidnappings has increased, and people cannot transact their businesses. So you find that insecurity has really affected our economy because there's no free movement of goods and services within the Nigerian economy. So it's so bad that I don't think we're making any gains in that aspect. And then I feel that there are a lot of conspiracies within the government because I'll take who even said this? He said that if, I think it's Abacha also, that if you have insecurity challenge for like more, is it 24 hours or more than 24 hours, then government is aware of it, you understand? So there are a lot of compromises here and there.
Well, but we see actually the president has, because presently I think the last 2 days he has been making swift action. We can see where those who are disloyal to the military, they have been like checking. The president has made sure that those who were actually kidnapped in the Kaduna Abuja railway are being rescued back to their families. So there are certain moves, in fact, police that actually are not, being loyal to the government. The president has tried his best to see that you fish out those bad eggs to see that we can actually curtail this insecurity to its minimal.
You see, I think it's just now that he's trying to do some other things. You can see this is a president that we had the service chiefs spending almost 7 years or so until when the whole nation, has risen against their continuous in office, despite the fact that some were supposed to have retired at that time. And they were not performing. You see, the whole thing you do as a president, if you have a challenge and you've put someone to take care of the challenge and he's not solving that particular challenge, you fire the person. But you can see a situation whereby the man was not firing, and you find that some people will now stay there, and you have a bad security issues, and then they're still there. So now he is trying to step up his game, but it's still not good enough. Because we're still having in fact, when you hear even from the military, they will tell you that before they will take off from their aircrafts, they are fighting jets for surveillance. These bandits have been told.
Because we have bad eggs.
So that's why we have people that are compromising. And that is the reason that Goodluck Jonathan said that they were Boko Harams in the government, and people now took him not to be serious. But that is the reason. You have people that are highly pleased, but they compromise. They compromise security issues, and then it means that they are aiding. They are aiding the happenings. In the north. You understand? They are supporting them. So whether directly or indirectly, and that is why this fight against insurgency or fight against bandits or whatever, in fact, a chameleon movement. So
well, we're actually looking forward to where it will all, because we can see moves actually. So we just hope that more proactiveness will actually come. Now, still in line, because you already built the preamble of what. Okay, we have a caller. Hello, good evening, Felix from Makodi. Okay, we have a caller. Hello, good evening, Felix from Makodi.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, go on. We can hear you. Okay, we have a caller. Hello, good evening.
Yes, I love you people program. I love the way you people are always presenting your program. I must appreciate you people for that. You are well seated.
Thank you.
But my contribution in this whole matter is that there is something I'm seeing in my vision, or should I say by revelation, that Nigeria is a kind of religious crisis and all that. I have come to cross-check everything. But have you understand that when you read the scripture critically, you come to discover when Christ was talking about that all these things will come to be. But I will not have to, I wouldn't want to speak much, but I just want to let everybody know that this is a time where everybody must create an intimacy with Christ. And if you know you are a Christian and a good Christian, you must know that the prophecy of Christ concerning the end is passing one after the other.
Thank you so much, Felix, for that contribution. And we know, but just like we keep saying, it's one thing for you to keep praying, but it's another thing for you to be active in politics, because you will not know, you cannot just stay and keep criticizing the government and not doing anything. Now let's look at, because you built already the foundation, looking at the economy, and we can see that you cannot talk about growth without talking about corruption, because if there's corruption, there's no how there will be growth, because definitely while you're trying to build at this site, somebody somewhere is destroying it at this other side. Now I'm going to say the administration have done justice to corruption. Okay, we have another caller. Sorry. Hello, good evening. We can hear you. Go on.
Good evening.
Evening.
My contribution here is that the Nigerian government. Hello, are you hearing me? Is having hand in this thing that is happening, the killings and kidnapping.
Can you move away from your TV?
If they do not have hand, they would have crushed them. Look at OD. Small thing happened in OD. They give order to say, let them go and crush OD.
I think you have to move away from your TV set, because we are having an interruption and we can't really hear you. So please, when you call us, move away from your TV set so that we can actually have a good communication. Now we're still looking at the administration, and I ask if the government have done justice to corruption.
In fact, my personal opinion, I'll tell you no, because I think it's business as usual. And then I like, backing or justifying my position with statistics. You see, in 2015, Nigeria was like 136th position out of 180 countries in our corruption perception index. But you see, by 2021, we've moved backwards to 149th position. So you can see it means that we're not really.
But the president brought out a report this year that we are on the corruption-free chart.
I mean, we have to now look at which institution.
Sorry, I have to cut you short. Hello, Makama from Abuja. Please go straight to your point. From Kaduna, sorry. If you're there, go on, please.
Yeah, my contribution to people is, the government of today with, I say my own contribution is the government of today, we didn't have any sympathy on one another. Because if you look at it critically, we didn't have anything that we can do with our brother, except we are cheating our brother. So, in fact, we have to do something that masses will be happy. All the killings, they are just killing most of the Christians. So the government, they are not saying anything about it. What can we do about it now?
Well, thank you so much for that contribution, and also adding your voice to others out there. Still looking at the corruption index.
So you see, what I'm telling you, this statistics is from the Transparency International, which is a global institution that is dishing out the statistics on corruption. So I don't know the measurement body, the reporting body that the president is referring to. But you see, in any case,
Sorry, I have to call you. Hello, Jonathan from Kafachan. Go on with your contribution.
Hello?
We can hear you. Go on.
Okay, my contribution to You hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my contribution with respect to corruption, and I would like to commend the respect to the role of the Nigerian military. So just what we talk about the former chief of army staff, corruption, the money that was found in the south region. You imagine the money that's supposed to buy arms to our government to find the citizens, one man diverted the money for himself. But imagine how can Nigeria hide corruption?
I think your network is bad. We can barely hear you. If you can call us back before the end of the show, we'll truly appreciate that. So let's take a look at what the president say and the index presently we have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You see, the president is faced with what we call self-interest threat and also self-review threat. You know, he is trying to review his own administration. So definitely, you know, that definitely he'll face that threat of being objective. But you see, outsiders would definitely assess using their own parameters, especially Transparency International. Is the first institution to start measuring that corruption perception index. So I don't know his source.
Sorry, we have to pick this call. Hello, Johnson from Makodi. Good evening. Please go on with your contribution. You have 30 seconds, please. Sorry, we have to pick this call. Hello, Johnson. Good evening. Please go on with your contribution. You have 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for this very program.
Please go on.
Very
go straight to the point.
My contribution is that okay, there is no control on anything at all in this country. Take for example the issues of, in those days we used to have price control board, but look at it, anybody can do anything, just go away free. So who are the ones responsible to regulate these things? So a layman on the street understand now that nothing is under control in this country. So where are the agents? They should live up to their responsibility. That is my own contribution.
Thank you so much, and we believe they will live up to their responsibilities. Now, if you said the president is actually evaluating himself, because I believe Nigerians are supposed to be the ones to actually evaluate him. Now, in your own final thoughts, how do you think this administration will be remembered?
The administration will be remembered by taking our indices, economic indices, backwards. I'll tell you, in terms of borrowing, they inherited 12.6 trillion naira as our debt profile, and they've taken it up to about 33-point-something trillion naira. They've inherited about 10.4% unemployment rate. They've taken us to about 33.3%. They've taken us to about 41% poverty index. So out of 10 Nigerians, 4 are poor, living below 37,000 naira per month. Then inflation, they've taken us from single digit to double digit. Exchange rate, they've taken us from around 200 naira to a dollar to about 500 naira to a dollar. So you can see that they'll be remembered for really managing the economy badly. And you see, when we're going to talk about governance, they have to look at, governance has basically 4 principles. That is the standard of behavior, talking about leadership and the code of conduct, looking at the organizational structure and the processes, which is the second, looking at tools, and looking at the external reporting. So if those things are not brought in, then governance will be poor. In terms of leadership, the Buhari administration couldn't give us leadership because they've missed out in their leadership qualities, taking the people along. They are always biased in trying to look at other things, and even the code of conduct, they lack integrity, objectivity, and competence in doing a lot of things. Then even the structures, someone talked about the issue of pricing. The fact that we even have an agency that has to do with that, but I think they're not living up. So structures of government and the processes are also bad. Issue of controls, the risk management of our economy is very, very poor. The internal audits, the internal controls, and some other issues in terms of control, they're supposed to be there. In fact, they're the ones really conniving and taking the money. If the kind of corruption that we're facing, the civil service is so enormous. And lastly, the external reporting. The performance measurement of what this government is doing is not really there. So we have serious issues, and even the external audit process, you find that a number of times the Auditor General, who is the external auditor to the government, will present his report indicting a lot of ministries, departments, or agencies of government, and to the National Assembly, and National Assembly will now carry that investigation. But at the end of the day, you find that other things will now, money will now exchange hands, and those people that are supposed to be prosecuted are not prosecuted based on
there seems to be lots of loopholes here and there, and they need to be filled up.
Not there. And if you cannot fight insecurity and fight corruption, then definitely you cannot meet up to your macroeconomic objectives.
Of course, that's an economist that you expect that coming from you. Well, we have a comment on Facebook. I would like to take that, and this is coming from Grigory. He said, "Nice one, Dagom." Thank you so much, and Grigory, for that beautiful comment. And this is where we have to call it a wrap on the program National Talk. Thank you to all our callers that made the effort to call us and send in their own contribution, and also to Grigory on Facebook. Thank you for dropping that comment. Until we come your way again, but remember, your vote is not just your right, but it's also your responsibility. Thank you so much, Dr. Dagon, for being here with us again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And to our viewers, have a blessed weekend ahead. Goodbye for now.